You came on my radar, which is an object that we detected in space that you believe could possibly have been extraterrestrial.
Have you ever wondered what secrets are being kept from us about extraterrestrial life? Joe Rogan dives deep into astonishing photos and stories that some claim NASA once wiped from existence. With 22 jaw-dropping revelations, this video takes you through mysterious encounters, unexplained disappearances, and eerie confessions that leave more questions than answers. From shadowy images in space to chilling tales of government cover-ups, every piece of evidence challenges what we think we know about the universe. What are they hiding and why? Get ready to uncover secrets that just might change everything you believe about life beyond Earth. National Geographic's photos, 1971. In 1971, aerial photographer Sergio Loaiza photographed a huge metallic UFO while on assignment in a National Geographic survey mission. The object, it was estimated, was between 120 and 220 feet in diameter. It was near a lake when it was discovered because of its peculiarly metallic appearance. Excited over his discovery, Loaiza presented the pictures to his superiors and waited for recognition. Instead, the organization supposedly suppressed the photographs, dismissed their importance, and barred further debate. The reaction sparked whispers of a cover-up and left the mystery unsolved for decades. The photographs resurfaced once again and reopened debates over whether or not they were hoaxes or even photographic errors. Analysts substantiated that they were neither and heightened intrigue over the origins of the object. While skeptics suggest it could have been an experimental aircraft or misinterpretation, enthusiasts argue that it presents significant evidence of extraterrestrial activity. The case questions why the images were initially suppressed and whether they represent one of the most credible UFO sightings. Up until today, the National Geographic photos remain a very entertaining example of how these extraordinary discoveries often get followed by suppression, creating both fascination and controversy. This episode has further underscored the difficulties in balancing credible evidence with public and institutional perceptions regarding the existence of extraterrestrial phenomena. National Geographic's mystery paved the way, but one man's confessions would shake the very foundation of what we thought we knew. Boyd Bushman's confessions. Decades-experienced senior aerospace engineer Boyd Bushman made a splash with his startling claims of extraterrestrial encounters at Area 51. He described, in a widely publicized interview shortly before his death, interactions with beings he claimed were from a distant planet called Quintumnia. These beings, which Bushman said were ancient and wise, stood around 5 feet tall, had large, elongated heads, and communicated through telepathy. Bushman further claimed that the extraterrestrial entities possessed superior knowledge and technology, which were immeasurably beyond human capabilities. He showed photographs of what he described as extraterrestrials, but skeptics lampooned the images as hoaxes or props. Bushman also explained experiments done at Area 51, where reverse engineering alien spacecraft and technologies, a range of anti-gravity propulsion systems, were done. His colorful descriptions of spacecraft and extraterrestrial materials were in tune with some of the testimony of other whistleblowers like Bob Lazar, making the narratives about Area 51 seem less disjointed. While the confessions by Bushman might have wowed the UFO enthusiasts, many critics pointed to the lack of authenticity, including concrete evidence beyond the dodgy photographs. Despite all the skepticism, his testimony has remained one of the core elements of the UFO community's lore, generating much debate regarding government secrecy and potentially extraterrestrial existence. Japan's comprehensive UFO protocols. Japan has been proactive over UFO sightings, formulating detailed protocols to deal with unidentified aerial phenomena. Since its airspace is often crossed by commercial and military aircraft, Japan's government ensures pilots and the self-defense forces are well trained to handle such a situation. The protocols focus on fast reporting, excellent documentation, and collated responses. Military and civilian Japanese pilots receive orders to immediately report strange observations, depicting in great detail unidentified objects that range from glowing orbs to the size of huge, silent crafts. The training is a result of many documented sightings across the Japanese skies, such as the ones across Osaka, where white orbs maneuvered in unknown formations, creating mystery and raising speculations. Japan also engages its international partners in information sharing about UFOs, indicating an increasing global recognition of the events. The self-defense forces offer specialized training to them to keep calm and secure airspace during such a sighting. Japan's system takes this seriously by dealing with UFO sightings as legitimate incidents worth investigation. In fact, most of the sightings cannot be explained. The approach of considering UFO reports seriously and structurally by Japan provides an example of how nations can respond to the rapidly increasing unidentified aerial phenomena around the globe. Sri Lanka's Radiant Ring, 2004. In 2004, a former RAF officer who was vacationing in Sri Lanka managed to capture an incredible image of a glowing ring hovering in the sky. The ring glowed with colors of extraordinary brightness and beauty at a time of a crystal-clear day, prompting the officer to photograph the phenomenon. Upon his return to his base in England, he submitted the photograph to his superiors for analysis. However, the photograph was soon classified and disappeared into the government's labyrinth. The officer's report and all the details related to the incident went dead silent, and there was immense speculation regarding a deliberate cover-up. Years later, declassified, the image was made available to the public, and of course, it was another day for the partisans of the debate. Analysts could only speculate over the conclusion as well after making a detailed study of the photograph. Several theories were proposed. It could be a natural atmospheric phenomenon, or even evidence of advanced technology or outer space activity. As official word was still in short supply, speculation increased. The shining ring would remain an enigma, embraced both by UFO enthusiasts and skeptics. This event remains one of the most visually striking and mystifying UFO cases, standing out for the vividness of the image and the secrecy surrounding its origins. Maurice Masse's encounter in France, 1965. One of the most astonishing UFO cases throughout history happened with Maurice Masse, a French farmer, in 1965. Taking a break on his lavender farm in Valence-Soleil, Masse observed an object falling from the sky and landing some 200 feet in front of him. He initially thought it was a helicopter and so walked closer. Instead, he found that there was a small, oval-shaped craft landed on 4 legs. Beside it, 2 creatures stood approximately 4 feet tall, with large heads and svelte bodies. Their tongue was foreign, like unintelligible grumblings. One pointed a device at Massey and froze him in place on the spot, then continued their things before re-entering their flying craft and taking off. Following the event, Massey came to realize that there was a trench in the ground where the craft had landed. The soil in the area hardened unnaturally, and the lavender plants around the site began to wither and die. Soil analysis later revealed elevated calcium levels, further supporting Massey's claims. Despite the extraordinary nature of the story, Massey's reputation as a reliable and honest man lent credibility to his account. This is a highly significant case in the annals of UFO history, marked not only by Massey's testimony, but also with physical evidence. The New Horizons probe and Kuiper Belt mysteries. It was in 2016 that the New Horizons probe, famous for its historic flyby of Pluto, turned its attention to the Kuiper Belt, digging up new mysteries about this distant region. Among its targets was 15810 Aron, a Kuiper Belt object exhibiting an unusual rapid spin. It is contrary to expectations, because such speeds should cause the object to break apart. Some scientists theorized that it was made of some super-strength material, or that its spin was producing fake gravity, leading to hypotheses of intelligent design. When the probe finally reached Aron, it hit an unexpected snag. Its sensors and transmissions simply turned off, then resumed when the probe backed off. The whole weirdness seemed to suggest that something or someone did not want the probe snooping around. These results served to further fuel interest in the Kuiper Belt, considered to be a cosmic frontiersman. Speculation surrounding Aron includes its being a natural enigma or an artificially created entity, or even as a disguised spacecraft. This discovery fits into the larger debates about extraterrestrial life. Others claim that the Kuiper Belt holds hidden alien outposts. While New Horizons' journey offered valuable insights, it left many questions unanswered and deepened the mystery of what lies beyond Neptune's orbit. Sean Kirkpatrick's report on alien probes. In an excitable display of imagination, Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the Pentagon's Anomaly Resolution Office, proposed a theory in 2023 about alien probes. Similar to space missions from NASA, Kirkpatrick hypothesized that extraterrestrial civilizations might send smaller reconnaissance probes while visiting Earth and the solar system. Like human scientific instruments, which are designed to be dispatched to other planets, these hypothetical alien probes were probably observing Earth. Assisted by Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb, Kirkpatrick hypothesizes that mothership-type operations could be a particular class of such probes, silently observing human activity at a distance. Their conjecture was contained in a draft report that set tongues wagging throughout the UFO research community and skeptics. Central to their hypothesis is the idea that the mysterious interstellar object Oumuamua, which passed through the solar system in 2017, was one such probe. Loeb's work supported such an idea, showing that Oumuamua's weird path and acceleration were compatible with artificial thrust. Though critics called the theory highly speculative, Kirkpatrick and Loeb pointed out that open-minded inquiry was necessary for scientists regarding unidentified aerial phenomena. The report surveys potential alien surveillance strategies, but underscores humanity's limited understanding of interstellar visitors, calling for further research into the mysteries of the cosmos. The Alien Interview, 1989. It would be in 1989 that a mysterious figure known as Victor leaked what was to be known as the Alien Interview. The film was smuggled, allegedly from the highly classified and veiled Area 51. The video was taken in a dimly lit room where humans can see a small humanoid being, the extraterrestrial biological entity, EBE. Big black eyes and an elongated head characterized the frail-looking being, who communicated in a telepathic manner. The film was released in 1997 by an individual who claims to have worked at Area 51 and claims that this footage is part of the secret task to understand the origins of the extraterrestrial being, his technology, and purpose on Earth. Such words resulted in a storm in the UFO community and debates over its truthfulness. Area 51. The Alien Interview. End. Critics claimed it was a great hoax, since no concrete evidence could be discovered, but believers regarded this as direct, undeniable proof of extraterrestrial contact. The alien in the clip did have an ominous, lifelike quality that made it an integral part of UFO folklore. Despite investigations and debates that continue to surface, the origins and credibility of the Alien Interview remain unresolved, a lure to fascination with Area 51 and secrets regarding extraterrestrial encounters. Bob Lazar's testimony. One of the most controversial and interesting accounts of his testimony is that of Bob Lazar. Testifying first in 1989, his account is one of the most controversial and interesting that the world has to say about UFOs. He testified about working in a secret facility known as S4, which is nearby the infamous Area 51, reverse engineering alien technology, where he actually managed to study a saucer-shaped craft powered by an antimatter reactor, a technology far beyond human capabilities. Element 115, an exotic material he claimed to have been utilized to generate the craft's gravitational field, was central to his statements. Their existence had not yet been confirmed, which added a grade of mystery to the claims he was making. Lazar's testimony elicited heated public interest, but also fueled skepticism. Critics pointed to inconsistencies in his educational and professional history as rendering him unreliable. But in his defense, advocates argued the government were trying to discredit him in a much larger cover-up. Centuries later, public interest in his story was re-sparked when, in a laboratory, element 115 was synthesized, giving credence to at least parts of his claims. Whether it be considered a whistleblower or a fabricator, Lazar's testimony is now the cornerstone of UFO lore that raises perennial questions about government secrecy and humanity's potential contact with advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. Tikaboo Peak Exploration. Tikaboo Peak is a remote mountain site overlooking Area 51, viewed as the modern era's Roswell by UFO enthusiasts eager to discover the secrets of the long-classified military base. Explorers equipped with telescopes and high-powered cameras visit this vantage point to observe and document the enigmatic site from afar. Among the most famous claims from the area surrounding Tikaboo Peak are some reports of what apparently are mobile structures inside Area 51, with photographs indicating that the position of various buildings or objects appear to change over time, suggesting a base location for advanced, perhaps extraterrestrial technology and secret experimental aircraft has continued this speculation. While the photos from Tikaboo Peak are of poor definition, at such a distance and with the mystery that surrounds the base, they have in some way generated much interest. Enthusiasts assume that activities depicted by these photographs mean much more than ordinary military operation, thus hinting at the reverse-engineered alien craft or even undisclosed aerospace projects. Skeptics raise the issue with regards to speculation, saying that such claims can be misinterpretations of legitimate military practices. Despite the difficulty of verifying these sightings, the unmistakable beauty of Tikaboo Peak ensures that it is one of the few accessible points for civilians to peer into the mysterious world of Area 51. It symbolizes the relentless quest to find answers for UFOs and government secrecy. The Pentagon's UFO investigations. The Pentagon has become a household name when it comes to UFO research, especially after the establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena (UAP) Task Force in 2020. Such a move was to standardize the study of UAPs, which were mostly called misnomers or kept under the lid earlier. The reports to Congress have identified sightings of objects with advanced capabilities, among which were extreme speed, sudden radical changes of direction, and the hovering appearance of an object without any detectable propulsion system. The Pentagon has still denied having any concrete evidence of extraterrestrial origin, but the acknowledgement of UAPs as a serious security concern has generated intense public interest and scientific concern. This partially transparent response from the Pentagon appears to further ignite hypotheses regarding their actual knowledge about UFOs. Whistleblowers and leaked videos, such as that of the notorious Tic Tac video, indicate that the US government is more privy to this information than they are letting on. Detractors argue that the investigations conducted were superficial, but proponents regard this initiative as a frontier into taking this phenomenon seriously. As more cases get documented and analyzed, the role of the Pentagon in unraveling the mysteries of UAPs remains an extremely captivating phenomenon that sends out different signals of national security vis-à-vis the pursuit of answers on identified aerial phenomena. The Pentagon's investigations set the stage, but it's a 1947 pilot's startling account that forever changed how we see the skies. The Mount Rainier Incident, 1947. The Mount Rainier Incident of 1947 is considered by most to be the event that launched the modern UFO phenomenon. June 24th was the date when pilot Kenneth Arnold spotted 9 strange objects near Mount Rainier in Washington. Arnold described the objects as moving in incredible speeds and performing odd maneuvers beyond anything he had ever seen from any established aircraft of the period. He is famous for describing the movement of their craft as saucers skipping on water, which led to the term flying saucer. This 3-minute sighting, estimated by Arnold, received national attention and became one of the first publicly highly publicized UFO encounters. Arnold's account and credibility as a pilot suggested that he had seen reflections or birds or experimental military aircraft, skeptics have argued. Although there isn't any photographic evidence of the incident, it actually triggered a wave of UFO sightings in the subsequent months, and the culture never really stopped talking about unidentified flying objects. Arnold himself never backed off the account, not even when ridiculed and mocking appeared, consolidating the Mount Rainier incident as a cornerstone in UFO history. It is to this day a seminal case for the study of UFO phenomenon origins, as well as in affecting public consciousness. The Melbourne School Encounter, 1966. The 1966 Melbourne School Encounter is one of the most well-witnessed UFO sightings of all time, by 300 students and staff at Westall High School, Victoria, Australia. On April 6th, during a morning break, a group of students saw an unusual silvery disc in the sky. The craft reportedly descended and landed for a brief time in a field near before leaving at tremendous pace. The witnesses described it as a silent, metallic object, moving unlike anything known in flight. Teachers and students were equally enthralled by the approximately 20-minute event. Despite the large number of witnesses, the encounter received immediate attempts at suppression. Authorities reportedly confiscated photographs and threatened students and staff to remain silent about what they saw. This only fueled speculations, as many believed this as a subtle attempt to cloak evidence of otherworldly activity. Years later, witnesses never wavered over their accounts, and the Melbourne school encounter continues to be one of the primary UFO cases. With credible witnesses, physical evidence of disturbed ground, and an alleged cover-up, the event now represents a compelling and mysterious instance within the history of UFO sightings. Shag Harbour crash, 1967. One of the incidents is one that has been documented with great detail: the Shag Harbour crash of 1967. On that fateful night of October 4th, residents of the small fishing village in Nova Scotia were delighted by a glowing object streaking across the night sky, ending its ill-fated journey by crashing into the waters of Shag Harbour. Eyewitnesses said the object was letting off bright yellow lights and making a whistling noise, then boom, exploding on impact. The crash was assumed to be that of an airplane, so local authorities and fishermen hurried to the scene, only to find debris and survivors nowhere in sight, only an eerie light visible underneath water. It comprised an in-depth search operation by the Canadian Coast Guard, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and Navy, but no wreckage was ever discovered. Official files describe it as a UFO crash, because identifiable materials or conventional explanations can't be drawn upon. Speculation regarding the origins of the object varied from secret military experiment to intergalactic activity. Some theorists suggested the glowing light served as evidence that the mysterious craft was an underwater vehicle. It has been decades since the Shag Harbour crash, but still, it is one of the most fascinating UFO cases, known for numerous witness reports, investigations by official sources, and the mystery of what really plunged into the harbour that night. The O'Hare Airport UFO, 2006. The 2006 O'Hare Airport UFO sighting is one of the most credible and mysterious encounters involving an unidentified flying object. On November 7th, United Airlines workers and witnesses at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport saw a dark, metallic, saucer-shaped object hovering silently over Gate C-17. Estimated at 6 to 24 feet in diameter, the UFO appeared for several minutes before it shot straight up into the clouds. A circular hole appeared in the sky. The movement is described as smooth, the appearance otherworldly, but with no visible engines or lights. Despite more than a dozen credible witness accounts, including airline crew members and pilots, the FAA dismissed this event as a weather-related phenomenon and refused to investigate further. This response raised public skepticism and speculation about cover-up. The sighting had extensive media coverage, as most observers noted radar returns were absent and that the witnesses were consistent. As of today, the O'Hare Airport UFO is yet another strong UFO history case that casts much debate on the nature of the object and why such incidents are usually whitewashed by official channels. The 29 Palms Encounter, 2021. The 29 Palms Encounter of 2021 is yet another remarkable UFO sighting that takes place in the vast desert and clear skies of the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center in California. On April 20th, a Marine officer caught on camera a mysterious black, shiny aircraft that appeared unexpectedly during the routine training exercises and disappeared just as abruptly. The witnesses described the craft as having an unusual shape and flying silently, not typical characteristics of any other known military or civilian aircraft. Even though it was seen for such a short time, several officers at different viewpoints confirmed that it emerged suddenly and vanished just as quickly. Radar data from the base indicated there were no unidentified aircraft in the area at the time, adding mystery to the sighting. Significant speculation ensued about the encounter, from advanced military technology to perhaps an extraterrestrial origin. The Pentagon launched an investigation into the sighting, which further heightened its importance. This incident, coupled with photographic evidence and credible witnesses, has a focal point in discussions on unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. Ivan Wagner's Space Station Photos, 2020. A Russian cosmonaut, Ivan Wagner, filmed some fascinating footage aboard the International Space Station, ISS, in August 2020, adding an interesting layer to a broader debate on unidentified aerial phenomena. Wagner was recording a time-lapse of auroras above Earth's polar regions when he spotted 5 unidentified objects that came into view in a straight line above the horizon. Objects keeping an equal distance from one another, apparently moved in coordination. That was enough reason to maintain interest. Wagner published the footage on social media and asked for explanations from fellow citizens. This probably caught the attention of space agencies and UFO enthusiasts around the world. The Russian space agency Roscosmos analyzed the footage, but it provided no final answer. Some guessed the lights were probably satellites. Others thought of more mysterious possibilities, such as advanced extraterrestrial spacecraft. With Wagner's sighting, talk of the phenomenon among high-energy locations began to reappear. Earth's magnetic poles make such a place. Skeptics tend toward natural or man-made explanations, however, and a lack of conclusive evidence has shrouded this incident in mystery. Steve Barron's Nevada footage, 2019. In 2019, a Nevada man, Steve Barron, captured some incredible footage near his house of a mysterious object that flew over one mountain range. The object was described as huge and radiating an extremely intense bright light. It moved with a flight pattern that defied conventional explanations for flight phenomena. Its erratic movements and illumination lit up the landscape around it, quickly making headlines in UFO enthusiasts' communities. Though the object was miles away, Barron's video delivered a crisp view of its uniqueness, which sparked debates from its origin and purposes. The video became a hot topic for discussion among skeptics and believers. Some think the object is a drone or new military technology being tested in the region, while others believe its behavior and size were unlike known aircrafts. The fact that the craft made no engine noise, combined with its sudden disappearance, only added to its mystique. Steve Barron's Nevada footage remains one of the most fascinating modern UFO sightings ever made, and a model for potentially similar advanced aerial phenomena, with questions now still outstanding regarding what was captured in the skies above Nevada. Frederick Valentich vanishing, 1978. Frederick Valentich, 20, an Australian pilot, has the mysterious case of disappearance from the list of mysterious cases in aviation and UFO history that occurred in 1978. On October 21st, Valentich was on a routine training flight from Moorabbin Airport in Victoria. Over Bass Strait, Valentich radioed Melbourne Air Traffic Control to report an unidentified craft following him. He described it as a huge object with bright lights, erratically moving and circling around his plane. Valentich pointed out that its appearance did not match any aircraft he could identify. Then, his transmissions suddenly stopped with a metallic scraping sound and went dead. Extensive searches of the air and sea were unable to locate any trace of Valentich or his Cessna 182L. Theories varied from pilot disorientation to mechanical failure, but the UFO enthusiast suggested extraterrestrial activity, pointing out that many UFO sightings were already reported in the area during that same night. Despite investigations, no conclusive evidence could be found to show what happened. The incident continues to fuel debate and stands as haunting proof of unresolved mysteries surrounding unidentified aerial phenomena. Project Grudge Report, 13, 1996. The most notorious yet dismal stories found in any UFO book are the ones concerning Project Grudge Report 13, apparently associated with a 1996 incident. This supposedly classified government report on an extraterrestrial phenomenon details an occurrence at the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, where something extraordinary was found by Major William Cunningham and Sergeant Jonathan Levet while conducting a routine search for rocket debris. Allegedly, Levet was dragged by a long serpentine arm into a hovering disc-shaped craft. The event reportedly shocked Cunningham to a level that she couldn't act as the craft disappeared into the sky, with Levet inside. 3 days later, search teams allegedly found Levet's mutilated body miles away from the initial site, sparking rumors of extraterrestrial experimentation. There is an alleged 600-page Project Grudge Report 13, and this account had never been officially confirmed to exist. The United States government denies its authenticity, considering it a hoax, or at best, an urban legend. However, the account remains one of the most frightening UFO stories, a significance of darker theories regarding alien encounters and government secrecy. The Air Force disappearance, 1953. The Air Force disappearance of 1953 stands as one of the most puzzling cases in UFO and aviation history. On November 23rd, An unidentified object was detected by Air Defense Command radar over restricted airspace near Lake Superior. An F-89C Scorpion jet, with First Lieutenant Felix Moncler and his radar operator Second Lieutenant Robert Wilson, was called to intercept. As the jet drew nearer to the object, ground radar operators watched the two blips, representing the UFO and the F-89, merge into one. Moments later, the radar lost all contact with the Scorpion, and the UFO vanished from sight. Despite extensive search efforts, no wreckage of the F-89 or its crew was ever found, their fate a mystery. Official explanations suggested that it was a mid-air collision or disorientation, and no concrete evidence supported such claims. The event triggered a wave of speculation over extraterrestrial involvement, especially with the erratic movement of the UFO and abrupt disappearance. For most people, the Air Force disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, raising questions over what indeed happened in the skies above Lake Superior on that fateful night. The Air Force disappearance stunned the world, but the last one holds mysteries of an entirely different nature. Harvard's Loeb on Kuiper Belt. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb has anew brought suspicion to the region of the Kuiper Belt by suggesting that it might hold some alien technology. His attention-grabbing statements were initially when he suggested interstellar objects like Oumuamua could be extraterrestrial probes. He carried this hypothesis further into the distant icy domain, beyond Neptune in the Kuiper Belt. According to Loeb, such an area may harbor dormant alien artifacts or probes from advanced civilization, using the belt as a strategic location for long-term observation of our solar system, the writer concluded. Loeb came with theories that challenge conventional thinking, including his speculation of the existence of uniqueness of objects like 15810 Aron that could have unique origins. He highlighted unusual rotational speeds and material composition as signs of advanced engineering. He also thought Kuiper Belt objects might serve as hidden spacecraft or containers filled with data, sleeping until activated. Critics say he does not have direct evidence to back up his speculations, but Loeb says the art of imagination is open-minded inquiry into phenomena that fly against current explanations. Thanks for joining us on this mind-blowing journey into the mysteries of extraterrestrial life. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more incredible content like this. And hey, the exploration doesn't stop here. Check out the next video on your screen for even more astonishing revelations. See you there.